Chapter 21. Frost covered the ground, freezing it hard. Tranquil Sun Province was after all the northernmost part of the continent. It was even colder in winter. You're not entering the mountain range of desolation today. Zhongling and Dongbush Shuang walked side by side. Is it because you killed the shadow leopard and are preparing to go back? The shadow leopard's corpse was worth more than 100,000 gold coins. Dongbush Shuaying's main purpose in coming to the mountain range of desolation was to earn money for his brother. Nope. Dongbush Shuang laughed. After the battle with the shadow leopard, my spear technique had a breakthrough. I trained for an entire night without rest. I'm preparing to practice my spear technique. After a good night's sleep, tomorrow I'll be full of energy before entering the mountain range of desolation and exterminate the Silver Moon Wolves. Exterminate the Silver Moon Wolves. Are you confident? Zhongling was shocked. Confident. Dongbush Shuang nodded. Before his breakthrough, his chances of success against the entire Silver Moon Wolves were less than 10%, and the possibility of death was extremely high. But now, his spear technique had improved too much. Even without activating his bloodline, he could reach the 10-spear realm. Previously, he was only at the 5-spear realm. This was a qualitative improvement. As long as you have enough confidence. Zhongling was pleased. Seeing the snow eagle becoming stronger, he was also happy. Noon of the second day. In a dark forest in the mountain range of desolation, the howls of wolves could be heard everywhere. Some were frightened, some were angry. The corpses of the Silver Moon Wolves were everywhere. The huge, Silver Moon Wolf King was standing on a huge rock and howling. A large number of Silver Moon Wolves were rushing towards a black-clothed youth. Kill! The black-clothed youth was advancing. Snowflakes fluttered, and the spear was cold. Every time it flashed, a Silver Moon Wolf would fall. All of them had their throats, heads, and other vital points pierced through. His spear technique was too fast. No matter how crazily the Silver Moon Wolves attacked, they were unable to break through Dongbush Shuaying's spear technique circle. Those who dared to approach died. This pack of Silver Moon Wolves was the overlord of the surrounding area. Other magical beasts didn't dare to provoke them. Even when the human army swept through the area, if they encountered the Silver Moon Wolves, there would be many casualties. Because the Silver Moon Wolves were large in size, they had strong charging power, and they were not afraid of death. It was equivalent to 200 to 300 heaven-rank knights besieging them at the same time. It was indeed a nightmare. But now, Dongbush Shuang had become the nightmare of these Silver Moon Wolves. Die, die! Dongbush Shuang did not show any mercy as he killed these Silver Moon Wolves. Magical beasts were the enemies of the entire human race. This was also the reason why the human army had to wipe them out time and time again. The demonic beasts slaughtered human cities over and over again. This was a common occurrence when humans were weak. Roar! The Silver Moon Wolf King finally charged towards Dongbush Shuaying. Good timing. Dongbush Shuaying's eyes lit up. Scram! The spear in Dongbush Shuaying's hands was like a nimble dragon, whipping the Silver Moon Wolves on both sides. The Silver Moon Wolves on both sides were either sent flying or fell to the side. As a spear grandmaster, his control over the power of his spear was very precise. Poking the grass to find the snake. As the spear lashed out, the Silver Moon Wolves parted like grass, while Dongbush Shuang charged towards the Silver Moon Wolf King. The Silver Moon Wolf King was shocked. It originally wanted to surround and attack Ying with its subordinates. Facing this young human's imposing manner, it felt a trace of panic, and even wanted to turn around and escape. But it was too late. Pooh! The spear whistled as it spun and pierced towards the Silver Moon Wolf King. The Silver Moon Wolf King immediately leaped up and dodged the spear. The spear pierced through the Silver Moon Wolf King's body. Get up! Dongbush Shuang suddenly exerted force. The spear changed from a furious stab to an upward slash. It directly struck the Silvermoon Wolf King's body. Pang! A muffled sound could be heard as the Silvermoon Wolf King's abdomen was struck. It let out a mournful howl as blood flowed out of its mouth and nose. Its body tumbled to the side. Swish! The spear was as fast as lightning. In an instant, it pierced through the Silvermoon Wolf King's throat, piercing through its fur. The gigantic Silvermoon Wolf King was completely rooted to the ground. The Wolf King's body struggled helplessly. The remaining hundreds of Silvermoon wolves retreated in panic. This black-robed young human was too terrifying. Awoo! Awoo! These Silvermoon wolves let out panicked howls as they quickly turned around and fled. Beautiful, Snow Eagle. I didn't expect you to be able to deal with an entire pack of Silvermoon wolves so easily. Zhong Ling appeared as well. My spear arts are very suitable for dealing with encirclement. Dongbua Shuang laughed. Hurry up and dissect it to collect the materials. Zhong Ling said, the stench of blood here is too strong. Although this is the territory of the Silvermoon wolves, as time passes, other magical beasts will come. Leave the dissection to me. I'm more experienced than you. Clang clang clang, Zhong Ling immediately took out 6 sabers. With a wave of his 6 arms, the Silvermoon Wolf King's corpse was quickly dissected. This is the heart of the Silvermoon. Dongbua Shuang immediately stored it in a metal box and placed it into his storage pendant. Chapter 22. Inside the mountain cave. The ground was very smooth. The bandits had different residences according to their status. Master, come, have a taste. Master, try mine, mine is delicious. 5 enchanting women surrounded a bare-chested, coarse-haired man, serving him with various fruits. This man was the leader of the Bent Blade Union, and also the strongest bandit in Water Rights Town, Bent Blade, Gubin. These pitiful women were all afraid of this bandit leader, because if they made him unhappy, he would torture them to death. Fear made them think of ways to flatter him. Fuck his mother, I used to eat and drink to my heart's content, with countless beauties. Now I can only hide in this mountain, surrounded by these beauties. Gubin's triangular eyes were filled with killing intent. Ever since he became a wanted criminal, he had been suppressing his anger. These days were too unpleasant. Which normal person would be willing to hide in the dangerous mountain range of desolation? Even food and drink had to be transported from the outside. Who knew when they would meet a magical beast? He could only make do with the women that he had captured. How could it be compared to when he was a meteor knight in the city, where he could be fawned upon and choose from countless beauties? I need to spend money to get the Empire to withdraw the wanted order. Gubin's eyes flashed with an ominous glint, that Sea Clan's appetite is too big. They want at least 200,000 gold coins to withdraw the wanted order. Damn it. The Sea Clan could almost cover the sky in the entire Azure River County. Withdrawing the wanted order, the Sea Clan could easily do it. I should be able to gather the money in another 10 years. At that time, I will be free again. Gubin was too eager. Only after becoming a wanted criminal, did he understand the value of freedom. Leader, leader, leader. An ear-piercing voice came from outside. What the hell are you shouting for? Gubin stood up angrily. The enchanting women beside him were so scared that they moved to the side. Gubin angrily walked out. Leader, happy news, it's a happy news. A voice came from outside. Obviously, the people outside understood the consequences of disturbing the leader. Oh, happy news. Gubin pushed open the door and coldly looked at his subordinates. What happy news? In front of the meteor-class Gubin, the usually ferocious bandit was like a grandchild. He hurriedly smiled and said, it's the fur of a Silvermoon Wolf King. Second leader and the others are waiting for you. Silvermoon Wolf King's fur. Gubin was shocked as well. He hurriedly rushed to the meeting hall. In the meeting hall, Gu Bin was sitting in the main seat, and the other leaders were sitting beside him. The other leaders were all heaven rank experts. The Bent Blade Union was the largest bandit group in Water Rights Town. Naturally, it attracted many powerful outlaws to join them. "One Ear, hurry up and tell us what's going on," said a gray-robed old man sitting next to Gu Bin. "I was ordered to scout outside, but who would have thought that I would see two humans?" The one-eared bandit hastily said, "One of them is the six-armed serpent demon Zhong Ling of the Snow Eagle territory. The other one is a black-clothed youth wielding a spear. He looks to be about 16 or 17 years old, and he's carrying a huge Silvermoon Wolf King pelt on his back." Zhong Ling. Gu Bin's fingers lightly tapped on the armrest, his voice cold, a powerful spear user in the entire Water Rights Town, and one that's related to Zhong Ling. "I'm afraid it's the young leader of the Snow Eagle territory who's almost obsessed with the spear. The spear demon Dongbu Shuang." The gray-robed old man next to him nodded. "I've heard of his name, but I didn't take him seriously. Being obsessed with the spear doesn't mean that he's powerful. But now, he actually dared to enter the mountain range of desolation, and even obtained the Silvermoon Wolf King's fur. I'm afraid his strength can't be underestimated. Big brother, are we going to rob it?" A sturdy bald bandit sitting next to him roared. To be able to obtain the Silvermoon Wolf King's fur, could it be that Zhong Ling has already broken through to the meteor rank? Gu Bin said softly. "Very likely." The gray-robed old man nodded. "Zhong Ling has been a heaven rank for a long time, and it's very likely that he has already stepped into the meteor rank. He's also the six-armed serpent demon of the serpent tribe. Under the frenzied attack of the six blades, the wolf pack will probably be ravaged. Coupled with some specially prepared traps, it's still possible to capture and kill the Silvermoon Wolf King in one fell swoop. Dongbu Shuang was good at dealing with group attacks, but if Zhong Ling, who had a tail and 6 arms, were to become a meteor rank, he would also be very good at dealing with group attacks. Could the young leader of the Snow Eagle territory also be a meteor rank?" The foolish bald bandit roared. "How is that possible? How old is he? Even if he became a knight at the age of 7 or 8, he should be a heaven rank knight by now." Immediately, another bandit retorted. The bald bandit rubbed his head and laughed. "I was wrong." Gu Bin said coldly, "Zhong Ling is very likely to have become a meteor knight. As for that young leader, he should be a heaven rank. Even if he has also become a meteor knight, it's just 2 meteor knights. We have so many people, and this is our territory. There's still hope to eliminate them. That's the worst. That young man is not likely to be a meteor rank." The gray-robed old man said, "We have a high chance of success." "Good, then let's kill them and snatch the Silvermoon Wolf King's fur." Gu Bin grinned. Since that young leader is a leader, he might have some valuable treasures on him. Snatch. Snatch them. Kill them. All sorts of excited howls could be heard in the meeting hall. "One Ear, where are they now?" Gu Bin immediately asked. "They are still far away. They are currently heading out of the mountain. They will definitely pass through the canyon in front," the one-eared bandit said. "Very good. Let's set up an ambush in the canyon in front. Second brother, I'll leave the arrangements to you." Gu Bin looked at the gray-robed old man beside him. This gray-robed old man was a heaven rank mage. Among the bandits, his position was second only to Gu Bin. This heaven rank mage was discovered to have secretly captured a large number of humans to conduct experiments on. "Leave it to me." The gray-robed old man nodded lightly. Deep in the mountains, Dongbu Shuang carried the Silvermoon Wolf King's fur on his back and walked shoulder to shoulder with Uncle Zhong. The two of them were still paying attention to their surroundings. However, with Dongbu Ying's current strength, even a rank 5 magical beast would not be a threat to him. As they walked through a wide canyon, Dongbu Shuang suddenly frowned. "Uncle Zhong, stop. What's wrong?" Zhong Ling was startled. "The aura is not right." Dongbo Shuang looked ahead. Ever since he became a great spear master, his spear arts had gradually reached a godly level. He had started to sense the heaven and earth. Along the way, the surrounding aura was filled with the qi of nature. However, Dongbo Shuang could sense a baleful aura hidden within the qi of nature. It was not in harmony with the qi of nature. There might be an ambush. Let's turn around. Dongbo Shuang said. Let's see if they will show themselves. When Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling turned around, six-armed serpent demon Zhongling, since you are here, don't think of leaving. A cold voice reverberated in the canyon. Brothers, show yourselves. We have been discovered. Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling immediately saw that there were many groups of bandits hiding on the two sides of the canyon. With a single glance, they could see that there were close to 1,000 bandits. All of the bandits were staring at Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling as though they were looking at two little sheep. Boom! A group of people walked over from the front of the canyon. The leader of the group was a ferocious-looking man with two blades on his waist. Beside him were his subordinates. Gu Bin. A cold glint flashed across Zhongling's eyes. Ha ha ha. Zhongling, oh Zhongling. You really barged into hell by yourself. Gu Bin laughed sinisterly. Even if you have broken through to become a meteor knight, you will still die in my territory. Ha, if you were to hide in the Snow Eagle territory, I wouldn't be able to do anything to you. But you actually took the initiative to come here. Aren't you courting death? I will fulfill your wish. Oh, and that tender little feudal lord. Don't worry, I will let you die very quickly. It won't be painful at all. Chapter 23. Gu Bin led a group of subordinates over, and a large number of bandits on both sides of the canyon were eyeing them covetously. Let's go. Zhongling said anxiously. Without hesitation, Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling turned around and fled. Flee. Chase after them. Gu Bin shouted coldly. Damn it, how did they discover us? If they had walked any further, they would have fallen into our trap. The other bandits were furious as well. They did not expect the six-armed serpent demon Zhongling and the young feudal lord to discover them from afar. They were rather confident in their concealment abilities, otherwise, they would not have survived until today in the mountain range of desolation. Chase after them. Gu Bin gritted his teeth and roared. Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling intentionally fled, causing the bandits to chase after them. Some of the bandits on both sides of the canyon took out some strange-looking crossbows. Wang! More than 10 hunting net crossbows shot towards Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling who, the projectiles exploded in midair, turning into a huge hunting net that enveloped Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling. Dodge! Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling swiftly dodged. No matter how powerful they would be in deep trouble if they were entangled by the hunting net. This was also the reason why they intentionally fled. Fortunately, they did not fall into the ambush, and there was quite a distance between them. Those hunting nets. With Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling's strength, they were able to dodge them easily. Too agile. I couldn't stop them. A total of 12 hunting nets missed, causing Gu Bin and the others to grit their teeth in anger. Uncle Zhong, we have already fled for a li. It should be enough. There should be no more ambushes. Dongbo Shuang stopped and put down the Silver Moon Wolf King pelt on his back. Continue running, why don't you continue running? There's a horde of magical beasts in front of us. Let's see how long you can run. Gu Bin and a large group of bandits were closing in on them. Dongbo Shuang stabbed the Feishua godly spear into the ground, and grinned at the bandits. Gu Bin, 6 years ago, you slaughtered your way into my Snow Eagle territory and slaughtered over 500 civilians. And within the entire Water Rights territory. Countless people have died because of your bent blade union. Today is the day you pay your debts. While Dongbo Shuang was speaking, Gu Bin and the others were still approaching them. Pay the debt. Bin grinned. There are too many people who want to kill me, but in the end, almost all of them died by my hands. The gray-robed old man behind Bin held a magic staff vigilantly and began to softly chant an incantation. Dongbo Shuang had been paying attention to this group of bandits, but most of his attention was on the gray-robed old man. He already knew that there was a heaven mage in the Bent Blade Union. It was foolish to allow a mage to cast spells. Yes, pay the debt, the blood debt of countless people. Dongbo Shuang instantly pulled out 2 short spears from the spear sheath on his back. Go, go. A faint blood-red aura appeared around his body, and Dongbo Shuaying's right hand flung out 2 short spears at lightning speed. His right hand was the one that he used to practice using short spears. In order to ensure success, he completely activated his power bloodline. Xiao! Xiao! The 2 short spears, one in front and one behind, tore through the air with a terrifying whistling sound. In an instant, they crossed over 100 meters and arrived in front of the gray-robed old man. Too fast. The speed of the short spears caused all the bandits to reveal expressions of fear. Careful. Bin was shocked and immediately drew out his scimitar, blocking in front of the gray-robed old man. With a bang, Bin felt a terrifying force being transmitted to him, and he felt a sharp pain in his arm. The short spear that was slightly affected by the force changed its direction and shot towards another bandit. Pu. The spear pierced through the bodies of 3 bandits, leaving a huge bloody hole in their bodies. Pu. The gray-robed old man's eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. Although the first short spear was blocked by the great leader, the second one was already in front of him. A layer of black fog immediately appeared on the surface of his body. However, when Dongbo Shuaying's power bloodline erupted, it was already comparable to a silver moon knight's. When the terrifying short spear was thrown down, the layer of black fog could not stop it at all. In an instant, the short spear pierced through the old man's chest. When the fog dissipated, the gray-robed old man's eyes were wide open, and there was a bloody hole the size of a bowl on his chest. A heaven mage. Dead. Scum, all of you can die for me. Dongbo Shuang had no pity for these bandits whose hands were covered in blood. He quickly took out the short spear from his spear pouch, and under the power of his power bloodline, a terrifying power was imbued into the short spear through his arm. As a master of power as one, he had perfect control over his body's strength, allowing the short spear to display its greatest power. Xiao. Every short spear carried a terrifying speed, piercing through the void and towards those bandits. There were mountain walls on both sides of the canyon, and these bandits had nowhere to hide even if they wanted to. Pooh! A bald burly man used his shield to block with all his might, but with a loud sound, the shield was completely shattered. The short spear tore through his body, and even pierced through the body of a bandit behind him. Xiao! 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 The air was torn apart by the pressure, and the short spear was like the invitation of the Grim Reaper. This large group of bandits instantly collapsed in fear. Because the canyon was only so wide, there were close to 1,000 bandits chasing after them, and now that the short spear was shot over, it was like a bunch of them. They were like roasted meat skewers, but if they were pierced through, they would lose their lives. Who wouldn't be afraid? How can he be so strong? How can this be? How can this be? Bin used his scimitar to block with all his might. 2 consecutive short spears were shot towards him, and he had to use his old life to block them. The short spears that he blocked still killed many of the bandits beside him. So the scariest one is not the 6-armed serpent demon Zhongling, but this young lord. Bin stared at the black-clothed young man who continuously shot short spears. Bin was only attacked by 2 short spears, and was unable to kill him, so Dongbo Shuang temporarily gave up. As for the other heaven rank knights and many other bandits, they were slaughtered. Some of the short spears shot down and pierced through the bodies of 6 to 7 bandits, mainly because they were too densely packed. With the threat of death, time seemed to pass very slowly. But in reality, there were only a total of 12 short spears, and with the speed at which Dongbu Shuang threw the short spears, they were all shot out very quickly. The short spears stopped, but the bandits were still in shock, and looked around blankly. The second leader was dead, the third leader was dead, the fourth leader was dead, except for the leader Gubin. The other powerful experts were all dead, not a single heaven rank, and more than half of the earth rank knights were dead. The main reason was that these elites were all following Gubin, and when they were attacked by the short spears, these heaven rank and earth rank knights were the first to be attacked, and they were also the ones who died the most miserably. Leader. The other bandits all looked towards Gubin. Gubin clenched his teeth, and blood seeped out of his teeth. He stared at the black-clothed young man in the distance. He did not expect that with just one round of short spears, his bent blade union's backbone would be completely wiped out. Dongbu Shuang. Gubin growled. The reason I came to the mountain range of desolation is to eradicate your bent blade union. The faint blood-red aura surrounding the black-clothed young man dissipated. Using the power bloodline was still very taxing on his stamina, and he immediately picked up the long spear that was stabbed into the ground. Whoosh! Dongbu Shuang turned into a blur, and dashed towards the black-clothed young man. So fast. The bandits were all shocked. Let's kill him together. Kill! Gubin let out a crazed roar, and a layer of black chi appeared on the surface of his body. He held a scimitar in each hand, and dashed towards the black-clothed young man, turning into a blur. Together. Kill him. Chapter 24. The bandits who wanted to join their leader in killing Dongbu Shuang were all shocked. Their leader died just like that. They had only exchanged a few moves, and he died too quickly. Pooh! Dongbu Shuang immediately pulled out his spear and looked at the bandits whose hands were covered in blood. Run! Run! All the bandits were terrified. They didn't even have a heaven-ranked knight among them. Even their leader, Gubin, could kill them all by himself, not to mention that this young leader was even stronger than Gubin. Scum, you still want to run? Dongbu Shuang immediately rushed towards the bandits. Snowflakes fluttered in the air and blood splattered everywhere. It was as if the bandits were wantonly slaughtering ordinary civilians. Right now, these bandits were just as weak in front of Dongbu Shuang. The remaining 3 earth-ranked knights were killed within 2 breaths of time. A large number of bandits' corpses were sent flying and fell to the ground. Run! Run! All the bandits had completely collapsed. The gap between them was too big. That spear was so powerful that they would lose their lives with just a touch. Not a single bandit could withstand a single move from Dongbu Shuang. Die! Die! Dongbu Shuang did not show any mercy towards the bandits of the Bent Blade Union. He killed them until they scattered in all directions. Dongbu Shuang knew that he was only one person. He couldn't kill every single one of them. In order to get rid of Water Rights Town's cancerous tumor, Dongbu Shuang first targeted the strong ones. He also killed all the knight-ranked ones. In just a short moment, all the bandits scattered in all directions. There were more than 200 corpses on the ground. The leader, Heaven-ranked knight, Earth-ranked knight, and the true backbone of the Bent Blade Union were all killed. The Bent Blade Union was destroyed just like that. As for those minions, perhaps some of the village guards would be able to stop them. Spare me, spare me. There were still 5 bandits who were forced into a corner by Zhongling. They didn't dare to move, because if they moved, they would all die. Snow Eagle, Zhongling laughed and said, "That's great. The Bent Blade Alliance is gone just like that. I've searched the corpses of Gubin and some other experts. I've found a lot of treasures, especially a storage treasure on Gubin." Dongbu Shuang was a little surprised. A storage treasure? This bandit is indeed very wealthy. Dongbo Shuang walked over. Here. Zhongling handed over a package. The package was filled with some gold notes issued by the empire's banks. Obviously, as bandits, they lived day by day. Their treasures were usually carried with them. There was also a ring in the package. After Dongbo Shuang received the ring, he immediately sensed it. His dou qi flowed into the ring through his finger and washed the inside of the ring. There was no air in the storage space. It was an absolute vacuum. Zhongling thought and nodded. The Snow Eagle territory's strength would continue to increase. Naturally, the expenses of the Snow Eagle territory would also gradually increase. Not long after. My lord, we're almost there. The 5 bandits were extremely respectful and obedient. One of the skinny bandits said, "Our lair is in the belly of the mountain. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to see it even if they walked in front of the mountain. The passage into the belly of the mountain is very hidden. Lead the way." Dongbo Shuang held the spear in his hand and was always on guard. The 5 bandits advanced in a very practiced manner. However, Dongbo Shuang faintly felt a terrifying threat. It was as if a terrifying existence was hiding in the mountain ahead. Ever since he reached the realm of a spear grandmaster, his senses towards nature had become more and more mystical. For example, he could usually detect demonic beasts in advance. He could even detect bandits' ambushes in advance. What's going on? I don't feel any aura, but I can't suppress my fear. Dongbo Shuang felt his heart palpitate. He stopped abruptly and stretched out his hand to stop Uncle Zong. He looked at the mountain in front of him. The walls of the mountain were covered with moss. Snow Eagle, what's wrong? Zhongling was puzzled. Something's wrong. I don't feel good. Dongbo Shuang said in a low voice. Let's go. Let's go. Zhongling's expression changed. He didn't doubt it at all. So. The 2 of them immediately turned and left. My lord, the passage into the belly of the mountain is very hidden. It's hidden behind these rocks. My lord. Where are they? When the 5 bandits turned their heads, they discovered that Dongbo Shuang and Uncle Zong, who were originally following behind them, had already disappeared. He's gone. The young lord of the Snow Eagle territory has already left. Brothers, the Bent Blade Alliance is finished. Let's find some treasures and run for our lives. These bandits were very cunning. They quickly entered their lair. Whoosh, on the wall of the mountain that had stood for countless years, a huge face appeared. Its eyebrows, eyes, and mouth were formed by rocks. It had an aura of superiority. Its eyes looked at Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling, who were already a few li away. A puzzled expression appeared on the huge face. He can actually detect my presence. How powerful can a young man be? Maybe there's a human expert behind him. I need to find another place to monitor the humans. The huge face on the wall of the mountain quickly disappeared, and the mountain returned to normal. Boom! In the depths of the earth, a huge monster quietly left this place and moved to another place. Outside the mountain range of desolation, the camp. Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling ran out of the mountain range of desolation as fast as they could and arrived at the camp. We're finally out. Dongbo Shuang turned his head and looked behind him. His heart was still palpitating. Chapter 25. Snow Eagle, what did you discover? Although Zhongling trusted Snow Eagle, he was still confused. I don't know. Dongbo Shuang shook his head. I just had a feeling that if we continued to stay there, we could lose our lives at any time. The Bent Blade Union has been in that mountain for so many years, isn't it still fine? Zhongling was puzzled. That I don't know. Dongbo Shuang smiled. Let's not care about that, Uncle Zong. Now that we have succeeded, it's time to go home. Yes, it's time to go home. Zhongling smiled happily. The two walked side by side to the camp. Inside the camp, there was a team of 100 soldiers from Snow Eagle's territory. Lord! Lord! The patrolling soldiers greeted respectfully. Soon, the captain of the team, Captain Yang Cheng, came to greet them. Captain Yang Cheng was surprised. Lord Zhongling, why are you back so early today? Normally, you would stay here until nightfall, but it's still early now. Dongbu Shuang smiled. They had entered the mountain range of desolation early in the morning to kill the Silver Moon Wolf Pack, and after killing the Wolf King, they had returned. They had only been delayed by the Bent Blade Union, so there was still 1 to 4 hours before nightfall. Captain Yang Cheng. Dongbu Shuang said, Uncle Zong and I are preparing to leave now and rush back to Snow Eagle's territory. You will continue to stay here and return tomorrow. Return to Snow Eagle's territory? Captain Yang Cheng revealed a happy expression. Camping every day, in the cold, how could it compare to the comfort of being in the castle? Yes. Zhongling said, Lord and I will return first, you must lead the soldiers well. Don't worry, Lord Zhongling, Captain Yang Cheng patted his chest and promised. Soon. Dongbu Shuang and Zhongling each rode a frost pony, and began to rush back to Snow Eagle's territory. The frost magical beast colts had great stamina and endurance. Even though the Silver Moon Wolf King's fur weighed close to 1,000 pounds, the frost magical beast still maintained a relatively fast speed along the way. The horse they were riding on was a little tired, so Dongbu Shuang exchanged horses with Zhongling, so that the horse could rest. It was already dark. On the extremely flat and frozen road, the two frost ponies transformed into 2 gusts of wind as they galloped forward at high speed. We're almost there. Dongbu Shuang saw a towering mountain in the distance. It was the mountain that was named after him and his brother, Snowrock Mountain. We're finally back. Zhongling also revealed a smile. At this time, Qing Shi should be having dinner. Dongbu Shuang was in a good mood. He had achieved his goal of going to the desolate mountain range this time, and the rewards were even greater than he had expected. At the very least, there wouldn't be a problem with his younger brother becoming his disciple. On the other side, the backbone of the Bent Blade Union had been annihilated. There were heavy casualties. The remaining small fries naturally took the treasures from their lair and fled in all directions. After they escaped, the news of the Bent Blade Union being eradicated by the young leader of the Snow Eagle territory spread like wildfire. Late at night. Water Rights Town, Dragon Mountain Manor. Lord Xian, the white-haired old man, you too, stood outside the door of a house. The black-haired middle-aged man yawned. Half asleep, he casually said, You too, why did you wake me up in the middle of the night? Lord Xian, something big happened in our Water Rights Town. The white-haired old man whispered. Something big? What big thing? Lord Xian was puzzled. The Bent Blade Union has been annihilated. The white-haired old man said softly. Lord Xian was stunned. Bent Blade Union? The largest and most powerful group of bandits in Water Rights Town. Led by the powerful meteor knight, Bent Blade, Gobin, with a group of heaven-rank mages and knights, the Bent Blade Union had been annihilated? Is the news correct? Lord Xian couldn't believe it, the Bent Blade Union led by Gobin. The entire Bent Blade Union is very cunning. They would flee at the first sign of trouble. They were annihilated. Yes, it was the Bent Blade Union led by Gobin. The white-haired old man nodded. Even Gobin himself was killed. All of the Bent Blade Union's heaven-rank mages, earth-rank mages, and even the majority of the ordinary knights and mages, were all annihilated. Moreover, they were annihilated by a single person. Who? Lord Xian asked. It is the young lord who was rumored to be obsessed with his spear. The white-haired old man said in a low voice. Dongbu Shuang. Lord Xian was shocked. A single person annihilated the entire Bent Blade Union. What kind of strength did he have? He was at least a meteor knight, maybe even a silver moon knight. Where is the detailed file? Lord Xian asked. Here it is. The white-haired old man immediately handed over the file. The news has just arrived. Our Dragon Mountain Manor has already captured a few ordinary bandits from the Bent Blade Union. Tomorrow, we will bring them to see the Lord. Lord Xian flipped through the file. He was no longer tired, and his whole body was extremely awake. Dragon Mountain Manor's intelligence network was the largest. The preliminary report had already recorded the situation at the time. If the information is true, then the current #1 expert of Water Rights Town is this young lord. Lord Xian whispered. I really can't imagine it. How old is he? The couple Dongbo Lai and Mo Yang Yu gave birth to an amazing son. Qing Shi was on the 3rd floor of the castle, leaning on the railing as he looked down. When I left, you were still sleeping. Dongbo Shuang jumped, and with a whoosh, he landed next to his brother on the 3rd floor. He took out the token in his hand and handed it to his brother. Qing Shi, look, what is this? Qing Shi looked at the wooden token in confusion. Wooden token, what is it for? There is a Bai character on it. This is the token of the Great Mage Bai Yuanji. After the new year, you can go to the Great Mage and become his personal disciple. Dongbo Shuang said. Ah, the Great Mage is willing to accept me as his personal disciple? Ah, ha ha ha. Qing Shi was so excited that he shook his butt. This is too good, too good. But brother, does that mean that I won't be able to see you? Qing Shi was a little reluctant. Ha ha ha, how far is Water Rights Town from here? You can come back to see me at any time, and I can also come back to see you. Dongbo Shuang laughed. Yes. Qing Shi nodded his head. He had already read many books about mages left behind by his mother, and was also looking forward to his life as a mage. That afternoon, heavy snow was falling from the sky. As the northernmost province of the empire, snowy weather was all too common. Shuang was currently sitting cross-legged in his house, looking at the fluttering snow outside. After his spear techniques had reached the Great Master realm, even though he still had to spend 2 hours a day to cultivate, in reality, the purpose of cultivating was to stimulate the growth of his muscles and bones. Wanting to improve his spear techniques? At this time, what he needed was to comprehend the nature of heaven and earth. Using the nature of heaven and earth as his teacher, he needed to comprehend it. Master, Master, there is someone outside who claims to be the Lord of Dragon Mountain Manor. He wants to pay his respects to Master. The servant outside was panting from running. Dragon Mountain Manor? Dongbo Shuaying's eyes flashed. He knew some information about Dragon Mountain Manor. This was a very mysterious organization that spread throughout the entire empire. The position of the Lord of Water Rights Town's Dragon Mountain Manor was no less than that of the Lord of Water Rights Town. He immediately got up and rushed to the main gate of the castle to personally welcome them. Open the gate and let the honored guest in. Dongbo Shuang arrived at the main gate of the castle. The group of people blocked outside was led by a black-haired, middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing. Beside him was a white-haired old man, and behind them was a group of heaven-ranked night guards. Ha, I have long heard of the great name of Spear Demon Dongbo Shuang. Seeing you today, you are indeed extraordinary. The black-haired, middle-aged man smiled. I am the Lord of Water Rights Town's Dragon Mountain Manor, Lord Xian. Greetings Lord Xian. Dongbo Shuang was also very polite. Lord Xian, please come in. Dongbo Shuang and Lord Xian walked side by side, while the others followed behind. Lord Xian, why have you braved the snow to come here? Dongbo Shuang asked with a smile as he walked. My lord, you single-handedly eradicated the Bent Blade Union. Do you still want to hide such a big event? My lord, yesterday you carried the Silver Moon Wolf King's fur and ran for more than 900 li. Many people have seen it. Do you still want to hide the fact that you killed the Silver Moon Wolf King? Lord Xian asked with a smile. Dongbo Shuang was secretly surprised. Everything that he did yesterday, today Lord Xian seemed to know everything. Dragon Mountain Manor was really powerful. Of course, I came here today to deliver the bounty for killing the wanted criminal Gobin. More importantly, I came to deliver my Dragon Mountain Manor's Black Iron Order. Lord Xian said. Black Iron Order. Dongbo Shuaying's heart slightly trembled. I have waited for this day, I have waited for too long. End of this chapter. From the first to the last, there were densely packed names with some simple introductions. The bloodshed list, it's an assassin list. Lord Xian's words made Dongbo Shuang startled. Assassin list? Dongbo Shuang looked at the blood-red book. Yes, the Bloodshed Tavern's background is extremely mysterious. Even our Dragon Mountain Manor is unwilling to provoke them. In the entire empire, there is a Bloodshed Tavern in every city. Lord Xian said, according to the actual achievements of the assassins, the Bloodshed Tavern compiled this list. The names on this list are almost all code names. After all, the assassins usually hide their identities. The other Dragon Mountain list is more authoritative and is valued by all the experts in the empire. Lord Xian revealed a proud expression. The Dragon Mountain list is compiled by our Dragon Mountain Manor. It includes the top 3,000 bronze-ranked experts in the entire empire's 19 provinces. Lord Xian said, from the first to the 3,000, they are all carefully considered by our Dragon Mountain Manor. Based on their achievements and various other factors, they are ranked in detail. The entire empire's 3,000-strong experts. Dongbo Shuaying's eyes lit up. Bronze rank. Only those with the strength of a legend rank are qualified to obtain a bronze list. There are 3,000 recorded on this list. There are only so many transcendents in the empire, so there is no need to compile a list. Lord Xian said, as for those below the transcendent rank, they are only one step away from becoming a transcendent. Among them, there are some who are brilliant and have strength comparable to a transcendent. Looking at the entire empire, the number of legend ranks is relatively large. In the entire Azure River County, there are a total of 12 bronze-ranked experts. There are a total of 5 who can enter the Dragon Mountain list. Lord Xian said. Dongbo Shuang nodded slightly. The Dragon Mountain list has a limit of 3,000. Not every bronze-ranked expert can enter the list. Among these 5, the 5th is called Changqing Zhe, ranked 2895 in the Dragon Mountain list. The 4th is called Zhang Yong, ranked 2822 in the Dragon Mountain list. The 3rd is called Dan Chen, ranked 1259 in the Dragon Mountain list. The 2nd is called Si Liang Hong, ranked 569 in the Dragon Mountain list. The 1st is called Xiang Pang Yun, ranked 525 in the Dragon Mountain list. Lord Xian easily reported the detailed rankings of these 5 people. Chapter 28. Lord Xian continued, Si Liang Hong is a legend rank mage who has lived for more than 500 years. It is reasonable to say that a normal mortal's lifespan does not exceed 200 years. However, Si Liang Hong successfully transformed herself into a blood demon, so her lifespan is very long. This old witch who has lived for more than 500 years, her strength is unfathomable. The blood demon tower she cultivates in is filled with countless dangers. Even transcendents are unwilling to enter. The Sea clan is also the #1 clan in the entire Azure River County. The governor of Azure River County, the general of the city guards, as well as the city lords of Water Rights Town, Wind City, and many other counties, almost 80 to 90% of them are from the Sea clan. Many of the important positions are also held by the Sea clan. In other words, in Azure River County, the Sea clan covers the sky with one hand. Lord Xian said calmly. Dongbo Shuang was shocked. The governor, the general, the city lords, so many important positions are held by the Sea clan. The entire empire has always been like this. This is not the mortal world, but the world of transcendence. Lord Xian said, although Si Liang Hung Old Witch is not a transcendent, she is close to one. She also has a good relationship with some of the transcendents, so she obtained the power to manage Azure River County. All the power is in the hands of the Sea clan, so, if the Sea clan says you are guilty, you are not guilty. If the Sea clan says you are not guilty, you are not guilty. Dongbo Shuang was shocked. This, have you forgotten? Although your parents were nobles, weren't they also captured because of an imperial edict? Lord Xian said. Dongbo Shuaying's face slightly sank. Transcendents can issue decrees. Within a certain range, they can go beyond the law. Lord Xian said. The Mo Yang clan has a transcendent? Dongbo Shuang asked. Saving his parents was something he had always pursued. There is a transcendent, but he is a pseudo-transcendent. Lord Xian said, this pseudo-transcendent strength is the lowest among the transcendents. I am afraid that Si Liang Hung Old Witch or that madman Xiang Pang Yun's strength is comparable to the Mo Yang clan's transcendent. Pseudo-transcendent? Dongbo Shuang was confused. The Mo Yang clan has a long history. The founder of the clan was an extremely powerful transcendent. However, after the death of that transcendent, the Mo Yang clan declined. Fortunately, they had a deep foundation. 10 years ago, a legend knight from their clan used some tricks to enter the transcendent realm. However, that was only the lowest transcendent realm. Some of the top legend knights could even defeat them. Dongbo Shuang immediately remembered. He had read about the wood-chopping knight who had awakened his primordial bloodline. That woodcutter knight had killed a transcendent with a single swing of his axe when he was still a legend ranker. It was completely possible for a legend ranker to defeat a transcendent. When the woodcutter knight became a transcendent, he became even more invincible among transcendents, and was honored as the strongest transcendent of that era. Transcendent matters are too far away. Lord Xian laughed. What I want to tell you is that you must never offend a legend ranker. Every single legend ranker possesses a terrifying strength. Si Liang Hung and Xiang Pang Yun are the two most terrifying existences in Azure River County. The two of them are the two skies of Azure River County. The Sea clan is deeply rooted. Xiang Pang Yun is an extremely terrifying madman. Lord Xian said. Madman? Dongbo Shuang was puzzled. Yes. Lord Xian said, on the bloodshed list, there are very few people who reveal their real names. However, Xiang Pang Yun is one of those who reveal his real name. He loves to kill, and because he always accepts a mission from the Bloodshed Tavern, killing is not a crime for him. Killing is not a crime for the Bloodshed Tavern's mission. Dongbo Shuang was puzzled. You can also go to the Bloodshed Tavern to issue a mission. However, the bounty for the mission will be set by the Bloodshed Tavern. The Bloodshed Tavern will take 80% of the bounty, and the remaining 20% will be given to the killer. Lord Xian said, the bounty set by the Bloodshed Tavern will be based on the target's title, strength, background, and many other aspects. The price will be very high. Lord Xian lowered his voice, let me tell you this. The Bloodshed Tavern has existed for tens of thousands of years in this world's history. It and the Temple of the Earth God are the two most ancient forces. Dongbo Shuang nodded. There were gods in this world. The Temple of the Earth God was a temple that appeared not long after the birth of this world. Its history was almost the same as the history of this world. It was also the only temple that was recognized by the Empire. The others were all demons and demons. The Bloodshed Tavern only served the assassins, and it was also ancient. Lord Xian said, Xiang Pang Yun is a terrifying madman, but it is very rare to meet him. Unless someone in the Bloodshed Tavern puts a bounty on your life. But the Sea Clan is different. The Sea Clan has infiltrated almost every aspect of the Azure River County, so it is very easy to meet someone from the Sea Clan. If you meet someone from the Sea Clan, you have to endure. After all, they can easily find a reason to capture you. Unless you have the strength of a legend ranker and obtain the Bronze Order. Lord Xian laughed, then you will have a lot of power, and the Sea Clan has no right to deal with you. How difficult would it be to gather 1,000 merit points? The reward for Black Iron level tasks are usually between 10 to 100 merit points. Lord Xian laughed, the lowest reward for Bronze level tasks is 1,000 merit points. I want to ask, how can I save my parents? Dongbo Shuang asked. There are many methods in the exchange grimoire. Lord Xian said, but you have to find a method that costs the least amount of merit points. This way, I will immediately investigate the current situation of your parents through our Dragon Mountain Manor's intelligence network. Based on the situation of your parents, I will find a way to save them. Dongbo Shuang couldn't hide his excitement. Okay, I will have to trouble Lord Xian. Please quickly investigate the current situation of my parents. Leave it to me. Because the Mo Yang clan is located in the eastern province, it will take a little more time. I estimate that in about a month, I will be able to investigate the current situation of your parents. When the time comes, I will help you find the easiest way to save them. Lord Xian said. Thank you. Dongbo Shuaying's heart beat faster. Father, Mother, how are you doing now? Okay, then I will take my leave. Lord Xian stood up. Every month, my Dragon Mountain Manor will send you a copy of the Empire's newspaper and a list of tasks. You can accept any task at any time and contribute to the Xia people. If the clan is really ruined, then so be it. Using this kind of disgusting marriage to consolidate the clan's position, disgusting. It was not that he was standing on his mother's side, but Dongbo Shuang indeed had such thoughts. If you are strong, then others will coax you. If you are weak, then let nature take its course and ruin it. There is no such thing as an everlasting clan. The Mo Yang clan has even sent out an order to capture your parents. How can we save them now? Tong San shook his head. You have contacted the Dragon Mountain Manor. Do you have any ideas? Zhong Ling asked. Tong San also looked at Dongbo Shuang. There is no accurate information yet, let's wait for another month. Dongbo Shuang said. According to the clan's strength. In the whole empire, there were a total of 19 provinces, including the land provinces and the ocean provinces. For example, the Tranquil Sun province's strongest, Eternal Wind Knight, Chi Chiu Bai's clan, that was the #1 clan in the Tranquil Sun province. Their influence could practically influence the entire province. This was the first-class clan in the empire. For example, the Azure River County Sea clan. For example, the East Province's Bellfeather County's Mo Yang clan, was a clan that controlled a county. The Sea clan's strongest, Si Liang Hong, was a legend rank mage whose body had turned into a blood demon. The Mo Yang clan's strongest was a pseudo-transcendent. This kind of clan that controlled a county could only be considered a second-rate clan in the empire. My current Do Chi is only at the Earth rank Knight level. With the power of my primordial blood meridians and my spear arts, I have the strength of a Silver Moon Knight. Dongbo Shuang thought to himself, in the future, I can definitely surpass Si Liang Hong, surpass that pseudo-transcendent. Just like the woodcutter knight who had awakened his primordial blood meridians, he had killed a transcendent with a single swing of his axe. This was what he wanted to achieve. If he had such strength, perhaps even without him saying anything, the Mo Yang clan would obediently lower their heads and send his parents back. I wonder how father and mother are doing right now. Dongbo Shuang was also very anxious. He was very worried about his parents' current situation, worried that something had happened to them. If something really happened, Dongbo Shuang didn't even dare to think about it. He only knew that he would definitely make the Mo Yang clan regret. In another month, there will be news from Dragon Mountain Manor. Dongbo Shuang could only suppress his anxiety. Time passed day by day. Half a month later, his younger brother's teacher, Bai Yuanji, actually came to Snow Rock Castle. Great Mage, why have you come? If there's anything, just send someone to pass the message. Dongbo Shuang personally greeted him at the castle gates. Ha, so the Silver Moon Wolf King was really killed by you, my lord. I had suspected it before, but now the entire Water Rights town has heard that the Bent Blade Union coveted your Silver Moon Wolf King fur, and in the end, they were destroyed by your spear. Now, everyone is saying that you are our Water Rights town's #1 expert. The white-robed elder Bai Yuanji said with a smile. Behind him, a group of disciples looked at Dongbo Shuang with curiosity and nervousness. His younger brother was going to learn from a master. Ha, aren't we here to beg the Lord? I want to choose a place on your Snow Rock Mountain and build a small house to live in. Bai Yuanji laughed, my lord, this place of yours is secluded, and it is also at the top of a mountain. On the mountain road, one man can hold the pass against 10,000 enemies, and there are also many checkpoints. It would be difficult for some small thieves to enter. As for the nobles, those who take the trouble to travel hundreds of miles to come to my place are much rarer. It's just that I am a bit ashamed to disturb the Lord. Bai Yuanji said. Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling looked at each other. The two of them understood each other's thoughts. Ha, that's exactly what I want. My Snow Eagle territory also has a great mage overseeing it, it is my Snow Eagle territory's good fortune. Dongbo Shuang laughed, Snow Rock Mountain has many peaks, and there are many empty places. Great Mage, you can choose any place you want. Bai Yuanji revealed a happy expression, he knew that he had a high chance of success, but since Dongbo Shuang agreed, he was still very happy, I will shamelessly choose one of the nearby peaks. No problem, Great Mage can start building at any time. If you need my help, just say the word. Dongbo Shuang said. Building a small house is very easy. Among my disciples, there are some who specialize in earth magic. Bai Yuanji smiled. Building a castle, building a majestic city. How difficult would it be to rely on mortals to chisel huge rocks and move them? As for those who specialize in earth magic, a powerful spell would naturally split the earth, and countless huge rocks would condense, making the construction much faster. For example, Dongbo Shuang's Snow Rock Castle was originally built by other mages. Although his mother was a heaven-rank mage, she did not specialize in earth magic. Dongbo Shuang and Zhongling both stood in front of the railing and looked into the distance. Looking past the castle walls, they could see that on a mountain peak a few li away, a stone building was rapidly being built. Under the effect of magic, the surrounding soil and rocks quickly turned into flat boulders. The boulders flew up and began to build. Furthermore, the walls were glowing with water and flames, and the walls became smooth. Great Mage Bai Yuanji also began to carve some arrays on the surrounding walls. Snow Eagle, this Bai Yuanji coming here, will he bring us any trouble? Zhongling was a little worried. Don't worry, this Bai Yuanji has stayed in Water Rights Town for so many years, and has not encountered any trouble. If he comes here, there won't be any trouble. Dongbo Shuang laughed, even if there is trouble, it won't be too strong. If it's a legend ranker who comes looking for trouble, it's useless for him to come here. As long as it's not a legend ranker, there's nothing to worry about. Zhongling nodded. At this moment, Dongbo Shuang's mood was extremely good, because with the great mage living here, Qing sure wouldn't need to leave his side to learn magic. Snow Rock Mountain had many peaks. On the main peak was Snow Rock Castle, and a few li away was the great mage's building. On the other side of Snow Rock Mountain, 5 li away from the Great Mage's building, and 3 li away from the castle, on one of the secluded peaks, there was a newly built bamboo building. This bamboo building was personally built by Dongbu Shuang. As a master who had perfect control over his power, the bamboo building was very beautiful. From today onwards, I will spend most of my time in the bamboo building at the back of the mountain. Dongbu Shuang said to Zhongling, Tong San and Qing Shi, I'll have to trouble Uncle Zong with regards to the territory. If there's anything important that requires my help, you can look for me. Okay. Zhongling nodded. Brother, don't you feel bored living in the bamboo building from now on? Qing Shi couldn't help but ask. Ha, it's not boring. Dongbu Shuang laughed. This was the idea he had after reaching the realm of Spear Grandmaster. After reaching the realm of Spear Grandmaster, he was able to sense the aura of nature more clearly. The growth of the grass, the heaviness of the earth, the agility of the wind, the fluttering of the leaves, everything made him feel amazed. After so many years, he didn't realize that nature was actually so beautiful. To him, living in a secluded bamboo building was a kind of enjoyment. Training in spear arts, there were different paths. For example, some soldiers had an ordinary foundation. They trained in life and death situations and discovered many flaws in their spear arts. Then, they constantly improved and perfected it. Eventually, they reached the realm of one with the spear, and became a spear grandmaster. In the end, they still had to walk on the path of nature is their teacher. Dongbu Shuang was different. He didn't like to force himself in life and death situations. Instead, he spent his time training to discover his own flaws and perfecting them. This kind of incomparably solid foundation could only be achieved by cultivating crazily and crazily. This allowed his spear arts foundation to be incomparably solid. Naturally, he stepped into the realm of one with the spear. During the battle with the shadow leopard, he was forced to the realm of one with the spear. Actually, even if he wasn't forced to a life and death situation, he would have naturally broken through in a year or two. Dongbu Shuang was more inclined towards this kind of accumulation, rather than taking risks in life and death situations. Brother, I'll come and find you often. Is that okay? Qing Shi asked. Ha, anytime. If there's nothing, I'll come and find you. Dongbu Shuang laughed and teased. Chapter 31. The news that the Great Mage by Yuanji lived in Snow Rock Mountain quickly spread throughout the Water Rights territory. Snow Rock Mountain, on the mountain road. Stop. There was a checkpoint on the mountain road. Not everyone could enter Snow Rock Castle. A group of soldiers watched as a group of young men and women arrived at the checkpoint. These young men and women were dressed simply and had an ordinary temperament. With one glance, one could tell that they were ordinary civilians. What are you doing? A soldier shouted. Big brothers. A beautiful young woman said, we heard that the Great Mage lives on Snow Rock Mountain. Therefore, we wish to see the Great Mage and become his disciple. That's right. Big brothers, please make an exception and let us see the Great Mage. These young men said. They were all very young and full of hope for the future. How high was the status of a mage? They also wanted to become a mage. The captain in charge of this checkpoint, a thin middle-aged man sneered, little brats, let me ask you. Do you have the talent to be a mage? I don't know. When the Great Mage sees us, he will know if we have the talent or not. These young men and women said. What a joke. The thin middle-aged man sneered, how precious is the Great Mage's time. How could he easily see you? Moreover, you don't even know if you have the talent to be a mage. Do you think the Great Mage will let you check one by one? Maybe one of us has a high talent and is loved by the Great Mage. A girl immediately said. All right. The middle-aged soldier shook his head, let's go. These days, I have seen many of you young people who love to dream. Young people, See the reality. In order to learn Do Chi, I joined the army and experienced many life and death situations. Who do you think you are? Why would the great mage accept you as his disciple? To tell you the truth, the great mage has already ordered that he will not see any guests. He will not even meet the nobles, let alone you. The middle-aged soldier said. Ah. These young men looked at each other helplessly. These guards were loyal to their duty and did not let them in. No matter how they begged, it was useless. Not long after, a carriage flew over. Behind the carriage was a large group of cavalry. The carriage was magnificent and was faintly inlaid with arrays. No matter how fast the carriage flew, the carriage was incomparably stable. Stop! Snow Eagle's soldiers continued to shout. We are from the Chow family of Yunqi territory. Our master wants to visit your lord, the coachman said. Yunqi territory's Chow clan. The soldiers looked at each other. There weren't many big clans in Water Rights Town. The Chow clan of Yun Shui territory could barely be ranked in the top 10. When the Snow Eagle territory was weak, the Chow clan was weaker. Now that Dongbu Shuang was recognized as the #1 expert in Water Rights Town, the gap between the Chow clan and Dongbu clan was even wider. No more than 10 soldiers can go up the mountain. The captain of the soldiers, a thin middle-aged man, said, This is an order from the Lord. Please understand. This. The coachman hesitated. All right. Old Pan, the 5 of you follow me up the mountain. The rest of you stay here. A voice came from the carriage. Yes. The 5 powerful knights with extraordinary auras followed the carriage and passed through the checkpoint to go up the mountain. We're also going to pay a visit to the Lord. Let us go up the mountain. Among the young men and women who were unwilling to stay, a girl immediately said loudly. Pay a visit to our Lord? The great magician doesn't want to see you, but our Lord wants to see you. The thin middle-aged man shook his head and sneered, All right, just give up. Before the new year, Snow Rock Castle was unprecedentedly lively. There were some commoners who wanted to try their luck, but there were also many nobles who came to visit. Because the great magician didn't want to see any guests, they went to visit Dongbu Shuang. They wanted to ask Dongbu Shuang for help and let the great magician accept a disciple. They felt that, since the great magician lived here, he must give some face to the Lord Dongbu Shuang. But, Dongbu Shuang also didn't want to see any guests. Zhongling helped to block them. In the morning, a male servant ran to the bamboo building at the back of the mountain, but the bamboo building was empty. He couldn't see Dongbu Shuang at all. Sir Lord, Sir Lord. The serving man shouted loudly. The sound spread. Halfway up the back of the mountain, a mountain spring rushed down from a high place and smashed into the pool below. The stream meandered into the distance. On a big rock next to the pool, Dongbu Shuang listened to the sound of the mountain spring. He was practicing a set of fist technique, which was the Do Chi technique 3-stage flame technique. When practicing, all the power in his body surged. Each of Dongbu Shuang's moves was coordinated and beautiful. The power in every part of his body was perfectly mobilized, naturally attracting the power of fire between heaven and earth. The power of fire between heaven and earth was constantly absorbed into his body and transformed into fire Do Chi. Breathe, breathe, every move, every breath, Dongbu Shuang felt as if countless flames were drilling into his body. His body was absorbing the power of the outside world and becoming stronger. He had just awakened his primordial bloodline not long ago. Whether it was Do Chi or his body, they were all growing rapidly. The reason why Dongbu Shuang practiced his fist technique was to perfectly control every bit of power that was growing rapidly. Lord! A voice could be heard from afar. Eh? Dongbu Shuang stopped and looked up. I don't meet those nobles. Why are they looking for me? Dongbu Shuang was puzzled. He casually picked up the Feishua spear beside him. So. Shuang turned into a mirage. If a normal person were to look at him, they would only see a shadow flashing by before Shuang disappeared from their vision. This was the terrifying speed of an expert. Swoosh! A shadow flashed in front of the bamboo house and Dongbua Shuang appeared. What's the matter? Dongbua Shuang asked. The male servant was shocked by the sudden appearance of his lord. Upon hearing his lord's question, he hurriedly said, "It's Master Zongling's order." He said that the old lord's good friend, Master Kong Hai, is here. He wants to invite you over. Uncle Kong. Dongbua Shuang nodded lightly. Other than Uncle Zong and Uncle Tong, his father didn't have many good friends. His grandfather had fled to Water Rights Town because of a famine. Because his grandfather was an outsider, he was isolated and bullied in the village. After he lost his life hunting in the mountains, his father joined the army without any worries. In the end, he cultivated Do Chi and retired from the army to continue adventuring between life and death. His father only had a few friends in the army. Because his father had been adventuring for too long, they didn't have much contact with each other. Only Kong Hai would visit him often. When he was young, Kong Hai had seen him many times. Later on, when his parents were captured, Kong Hai had come to visit him once. Every year, he would send people to deliver New Year's gifts. Dongbua Shuang would also send people to return the gifts. However, since his parents weren't here, Kong Hai hadn't personally visited for a long time. Snow Eagle. It's been a few years since we last met. Snow Eagle is already the #1 expert in our Water Rights Town. Amazing. A fat middle-aged man stood up and laughed when he saw Dongbua Shuang walk in. Uncle Kong Hai. Dongbua Shuang smiled and nodded his head. Kong Hai secretly regretted. After he retired from the army, he became a businessman. He was slick and had many friends. Dongbua Lai was only one of his many friends. After Dongbua Lai and his wife were captured, he came to Snowrock Castle once to comfort the young Dongbua Shuang and his brother. After that, he didn't come again. But as a businessman, he always sent people to deliver New Year's gifts to maintain their friendship. In fact, every year, he would send a large number of New Year's gifts to his friends. Some of his more important friends, he would personally visit them. Previously, he didn't care much about the 2 sons left behind by his old friend. But who would have thought that this Dongbua Shuang would be able to single-handedly destroy the terrifying Bent Blade Union? This was simply unimaginable. Come, you, greet your brother Snow Eagle. The chubby Kong Hai pulled the hand of a girl dressed in green. Brother Snow Eagle. Chapter 32. Entering through the castle's back door, Dongbua Shuaying's body was like a phantom as he returned to his room in the castle's main building. Putting down the Feishua spear, he quickly went downstairs to the living room. Inside the living room, Zongling was receiving Lord Xian. It's only been a month, but there's already a mage's tower on Snowrock Mountain. Lord Xian held a cup of hot tea. Our Water Rights Town's most powerful knights and mages are all gathered on Snowrock Mountain. It's just Water Rights Town, nothing more. Compared to some of the powerful masters in the outside world, it's not worth mentioning. Zongling smiled. Who? With a gust of wind, a black-clothed youth walked in. Lord Xian turned his head and his eyes lit up. He immediately got up and smiled. Lord Xian, Dongbua Shuang said, no need to be polite, please sit. After sitting down, Dongbua Shuang immediately asked, Lord Xian, about my parents' situation. You have to believe in our Dragon Mountain Manor's intelligence, it's #1 in the world. Lord Xian said, but I have to remind you, you have to calm down. Calm down. Dongbua Shuang felt a knot in his heart. Beside him, Zongling's complexion also changed. Please speak. Dongbua Shuang said calmly. Lord Xian understood that this young lord's heart was certainly not calm. He secretly sighed and directly said, "Your mother's situation is not bad. She is a direct descendant of the Mo Yang clan, and her brother, Mo Yang Chen, is the youngest Silver Moon mage in the clan. Therefore, your mother is only locked up in a forbidden area of the Mo Yang clan, Thunder Tide Shore. Although she is lonely, she doesn't have to worry about food and drink. She can also concentrate on studying spells. I heard that your mother has even broken through to the meteor level. Yu's innate talent has always been good. She is indeed the first among us to break through to the meteor level." Zhongling nodded slightly. "What about my father?" Dongbu Shuang was worried. If his mother was fine, then what about his father? "Your father." Lord Xian hesitated. "Your mother was unwilling to accept the marriage arranged by the family and fled the family. Afterwards, the Mo Yang family chose another outstanding daughter to marry. This girl's father is called Mo Yang Chenbai. In the past, Mo Yang Chenbai was unable to protect his daughter. Ever since his daughter got married, he has been bitterly training for 20 years. Now, he has reached the Silver Moon Knight rank. Furthermore, with the help of his family's refiner armor, he can display the strength of a legend ranker. Our Dragon Mountain Manor has also gifted him a bronze order. Mo Yang Chenbai is still brooding over what happened in the past. He also resents your mother. He believes that it was your mother who ran away that caused his daughter to marry an old man." Lord Xian said. "How can you blame my mother? After my mother escaped, the one who married off her daughter. Isn't it the Mo Yang clan's higher-ups?" Dongbu Shuang said angrily. "He doesn't dare to challenge the authority of the clan leader, so he can only vent his anger on your mother." Lord Xian said, "Your mother is under your uncle's protection, and she is imprisoned in the forbidden Thunder Tide Cliff, so he can't do anything. But your father is forced to do hard labor." Mo Yang Chenbai vented his resentment on your father. Dongbu Shuiying's complexion turned ashen. His fingers gripped the armrests so hard that they began to sink into the wood. "Your father was sentenced to 100 years of hard labor in the Mo Yang clan's East Fragrant Lake refiner workshop. Mo Yang Chenbai often arranged for people to torture your father. Moreover, he had the mages in the workshop cure your father time and time again. This way, your father won't die." Lord Xian said, "If it weren't for the mage's treatment, I'm afraid your father wouldn't even be able to endure 3 years in the refiner workshop." Pang! Dongbu Shuiying's fingers finally broke the armrest. Dongbu Shuiying's eyes were filled with killing intent. Damn it, damn it. In his memory, his father was like a towering mountain, or it was his father who strictly trained him, or his father who doted on him, Mo Yang Chenbai. Mo Yang clan. Dongbu Shuiying's whole body surged with blood, and a fierce aura emitted from his body. Zhongling was also angry, and his face was ugly. Although Lord Xian's words were very simple, but they could all hear that the hard labor was torture, and they even specially sent people to torture him. Even with Dongbu's fierce Heaven Knight body, he couldn't withstand it, and needed mages to cure him. Dongbu's chest was burning with anger, and his anger was surging. Mo Yang Chenbai, if I don't kill you, I swear I'm not a man. Dongbu Shuiying's heart was burning with killing intent, but there were outsiders nearby, so Dongbu Shuiying would not directly shout these words out. Shouting was useless. It had to be done. What about the Mo Yang clan? What about Mo Yang Chen? Are they just going to watch him torture my father? Dongbu Shuiying said. The Mo Yang clan doesn't care about your father's life or death. As for Mo Yang Chen, although he asked someone to take care of your father, it's useless. First, Mo Yang Chen has to concentrate on studying magic, and second, Mo Yang Chenbai was able to obtain the Bronze Order, so his status in the clan is no less than Mo Yang Chen's. Moreover, he specially sent people to torture your father. Mo Yang Chen can't always protect your father, right? Lord Xian said, not to mention, Mo Yang Chen has feelings for his sister, but he doesn't have any feelings for your father. Dongbu Shuiying listened and gritted his teeth. He understood. He understood all of this. But he was filled with hatred, and he really couldn't accept it. How can I save my parents? Dongbua Shuang asked. According to our investigation, the Mo Yang clan's rules are extremely strict, and no one can violate them. Moreover, your mother is locked up in the forbidden area, and your father is also in the family's East Fragrant Lake Alchemy workshop. Outsiders simply cannot enter, and there is no way to save your father. Lord Xian said, opportunistic methods are hopeless. What if we don't use opportunistic methods? Dongbua Shuang asked. The easiest way is to give your father the title of honorary marquis. Lord Xian said, the title of marquis is extremely high, and even transcendents with special privileges can't be captured. Directly imprisoning or killing a marquis? That pseudo-transcendent of the Mo Yang clan can't bear the consequences. Marquis. This was a rather special title. Because the title of Earl and Baron below the Marquis rank could be easily bought with money, but a Marquis couldn't. Even a Marquis was very rare. Under normal circumstances, only one clan could give birth to a transcendent. A transcendent can appoint one member of the clan to become a Marquis, and this title can be inherited for 1,000 years. After 1,000 years, it would naturally be demoted to an Earl. So, generally, a Marquis was the nominal leader of a transcendent clan. As for the transcendent, there was no need for a title. Therefore, a Marquis was forbidden to be imprisoned, killed, etc. Pseudo-transcendents didn't have the qualifications. Even if a real transcendent did, they would have to pay a huge price. The title of honorary Marquis was not hereditary. Generally, only those who made great contributions to the empire could receive the title of honorary Marquis. The power was similar to that of a hereditary Marquis, but it couldn't be hereditary. If your father is an honorary Marquis, then your mother is a Marquis. Then, the Mo Yang clan must immediately stop all punishments, confinement, and forced labor. They must not offend you in the slightest. Lord Xian said. How can I obtain the title of honorary Marquis? Dongbua Shuang asked. But, what about father? Would his father be able to last until the day he accumulated 20,000 merit points? The atmosphere in the living room was depressing. Fragments of the armrests scattered all over the floor. Shuang sat on the chair in silence. Lord Xian could only silently drink his tea. I can't save my father. Dongbua Ying's voice was slightly hoarse. But I want to save his life. Is there any way? Although Mo Yang Chenbai sent people to torture him, he also let the alchemy workshop's magicians use magic to heal him. He shouldn't let your father die. Lord Xian said. Probably not. Dongbua Shuang clenched his teeth and said, my father's life can't be controlled by Mo Yang Chenbai. Moreover, my father has been forced to do hard labor for several years. Mo Yang Chenbai might lose interest in torturing him at any time. At that time, my father is likely to lose his life. I want to save my father's life. Dongbua Shuang looked at Lord Xian. With enough gold coins, even a transcendent can be invited. I believe in the power of gold coins. Money has the power to move countless people's hearts. Lord Xian, how many gold coins do I need to save my father's life? Dongbua Shuang said. If he could spend 10 million gold coins in one go, perhaps even a transcendent would help to save his father with a smile. But obviously, the amount of gold coins needed to invite a transcendent was not something Dongbua Shuang could afford. Gold coins? Lord Xian thought for a moment, if Lord has enough gold coins, I have an idea. Please say it. Dongbua Shuang said. Previously, when I helped you investigate the information about your parents, I found out that the East Fragrant Lake Alchemy Workshop is an extremely important core workshop of the Mo Yang clan. The person in charge is an extremely powerful master alchemist. His mage strength is at the Silver Moon level, and he is an expert in alchemy. In the Mo Yang clan, his status is even higher than Mo Yang Chen and Mo Yang Chen Bai. Lord Xian said. Dongbu Shui Ying's eyes lit up. A powerful master alchemist. Every ancient clan would hold him in high regard. He controls the entire alchemy workshop. In the alchemy workshop, this master alchemist has the final say. Lord Xian said, if he is willing to save your father, he can easily save your father's life. He can even stop your father from suffering. Ask him for help. Dongbu Shuang said. This master alchemist has a very high vision. If the gold coins are too little, I'm afraid he won't care. Lord Xian said, I think we should take out 100,000 gold coins. There should be a certain degree of certainty. If you can take out 110,000 gold coins, I will help you with this matter. 110,000 gold coins, of which 10,000 gold coins will be given to the Dragon Mountain Manor personnel for this task. 100,000 gold coins will be used to bribe this master alchemist. If it fails, the 100,000 gold coins will be returned. The reward will not be returned. Lord Xian said. Dragon Mountain Manor's intelligence network was spread all over the world. Moreover, the establishment of Dragon Mountain Manor, in addition to monitoring the world, was originally to serve the world's strongest experts. This kind of gloomy matter was not considered a violation of the rules. 110,000 gold coins. Good. Dongbu Shuang turned his hand, and a thick stack of gold notes appeared in his hand. This is the Empire's bank's gold notes, a total of 110,000. Lord Xian was startled. Good fellow. 110,000 gold coins, ah. He actually took it out just like that. One must know that when Bai Yuanji accepted a direct disciple, he shouted 50,000 gold coins as a disciple fee. This meant that he would be responsible for the direct disciple for the rest of his life. But in the end, Dongbu Shuang only gave him the silver moon heart and not 50,000 gold coins. Because it was really very difficult to obtain so many gold coins. It seemed that killing the Silver Moon Wolf King and the Shadow Leopard was very profitable. But even a legend knight would not be willing to earn this kind of fast money. Because they might encounter a magical beast that was stronger than them and lose their life. In fact, when they encountered the Shadow Leopard, Dongbu Shuang almost lost his life. In order to obtain so many gold coins, adventurers would usually go to some dangerous place to try their luck, or risk their lives in the mountain range of desolation. Without risking their lives, it was too difficult to obtain so many gold coins. The 110,000 gold coins that Dongbu Shuang took out. Among them, there were 70,000 gold coins from selling the Silver Moon Wolf King's fur and other important materials, as well as the gold coins that were left behind when he destroyed the Bent Blade Union. Dongbu Shuang only had a total of 120,000 gold coins, and this time he took out a total of 110,000 gold coins. Rest assured, I will give you the news within a month. Rest assured, this matter is in the bag. These mages, alchemists, all value money very much. Their experiments consume a lot of materials, so 100,000 gold coins is enough to protect a worker in the workshop. Lord Xian said. Dongbu Shuang nodded. If it was not successful, then he would add more money. The news of him killing the Silver Moon Wolf King had spread far and wide, so there were merchants who took the initiative to purchase the fur and other materials. Although the corpse of the Shadow Leopard had been completely dissected, it had not been sold yet. Then I will have to trouble Lord Xian, Dongbu Shuang said. If this matter is successful, Dongbu Shuang will not forget Lord Xian's favor. Ha, rest assured. When Lord Xian heard Dongbu Shuang's words, he immediately laughed. If this matter was done well, Dongbu Shuang would definitely remember this favor. Right now, Dongbu Shuang's favor was not much, but if he became a legend ranker in the future, it would be different. The Dragon Mountain Manor's internal network was dense. Lord Xian quickly contacted the person in charge of the Dragon Mountain Manor in the Bellfeather County of the Eastfield Province and handed the matter over to him. Although the Mo Yang clan could cover the sky with one hand in Bellfeather County, the Dragon Mountain Manor was independent. The Dragon Mountain Manor was not something an ordinary clan could influence. For example, Lord Xian of the Dragon Mountain Manor in Water Rights Town directly said that the Xi family's ancestor, Xi Lianghong, was an old witch. This was also because he was not worried that the Xi family could threaten him, and also because he had some grudges with the Xi family. Of course, if it was the top clan in the Tranquil Sun province, the Changfeng clan, the foreign Dragon Mountain Manor might still be unyielding. The Dragon Mountain Manor in the Tranquil Sun province would have to bow their heads. But the Xi family and the Mo Yang family did not have the strength to do so. Eastfield Province, Bellfeather County, East Fragrant Lake Alchemy Workshop. The East Fragrant Lake was a very beautiful lake. The lake was like a mirror, and beside the lake was a huge, enclosed, fortress-like alchemy workshop. At the very center of the alchemy workshop was a tall mage tower. This was the mage tower of the master alchemist, Master Su Guangqing. Although this Master Su Guangqing was only a silver moon mage, in the field of alchemy, he was the number one in the entire Bellfeather County. This kind of master alchemist was also invited by other stronger clans, but the Mo Yang clan successfully poached Su Guangqing. Su Guangqing was even able to enter the clan's elder council as an external elder. The reason why Su Guangqing was willing to join the Mo Yang clan was because his hometown was in Bellfeather County. Otherwise, he would not have joined the Mo Yang clan. Hua hua hua, next to the blazing hot gear, a shirtless, sweaty middle-aged man was pushing with all his might. It was Dongbo Lai. Beside him, there were even more workers working. Hurry up. You are a heaven rank knight, use more strength. From time to time, the supervisor's gaze would fall on Dongbo Lai's body, and from time to time, he would lash out with his whip. Dongbo Lai was thinner than before. He was silent as he worked. Day and night of hard work, coupled with the occasional torture, these kind of days with no end in sight, were simply a nightmare from hell. But Dongbo Lai clenched his teeth and endured, because he had not given up. He still had a desire. His wife, his 2 sons. He still had too many things to worry about. He wanted to live. Even if he had to live like a dog, he still wanted to live. Master! Master! Suddenly, some of the supervisors in the surroundings trembled and respectfully shouted. A master like him who could continuously refine many treasures was the true foundation of the clan. It seems that I have to experiment more. The materials are somewhat insufficient. Those elders of the clan are always suppressing my material supply. Master Su Guangqing frowned. Dongbo Shuang wanted to increase his strength as much as possible. In an open space beside the bamboo house at the back of the mountain, there were 2 refiner dummies. These refiner dummies were worth 5,000 gold coins each. Below the legend rank, no one would be able to harm them. Even if a legend ranker were to suffer some minor injuries, the refiner dummy's self-recovery ability would still be able to recover. Therefore, it was a common tool used by archmages to conduct experiments. These dummies were specially bought from the Water Rights Town and fixed by archmages. It would be very difficult to move them away. Thinking about how Dongbo Shuiying's spear arts could not even move them, one could imagine how stable they were. Peng! Peng! The spear was like a bolt of lightning, sweeping, striking, chopping, collapsing. As Dongbo Shuiying walked, every move he made was extremely powerful. Although he had already reached the realm of a great spear master, and training in spear arts had almost negligible effects on his realm, it was still very beneficial to his body. On one hand, after awakening his strength bloodline, his body's self-recovery ability was astonishing. Every time he recovered, his muscles and bones would undergo a small evolution. This kind of evolution, after accumulating countless times, would result in a huge increase in his strength. On the other hand, if his body used up too much energy to recover, he would be able to absorb more fire energy from the outside world when training in the 3-stage flame technique. Furthermore, some of the insights he gained from comprehending the natural world could also be tested during spear practice. Hoo. Sweat drenched his clothes. Dongbo Shui Ying's strength was as one. He could feel the fatigue in every part of his body. Some parts that were not trained enough would naturally be strengthened. Under this kind of pressure, the potential of his strength bloodline was constantly being excavated. The grass on Snow Rock Mountain would wither and flourish for an entire year, again and again. In the blink of an eye, 6 years had passed. The young and inexperienced Kong Yu, the mischievous Dongbo Qingshi, and the young Dongbo Shuang, had all grown up. Hua hua hua, the sound of the mountain spring water reverberated in the lake, making the surroundings even more peaceful. A black-clothed young man was sitting cross-legged on a big rock with his eyes closed. His face looked like it was carved by a knife or hatchet. He inherited his father's looks. His looks were rather ordinary and could not be considered handsome. However, he had an aura that was as reserved as a mountain, which was obviously extraordinary. At this moment, his breathing was so slow that it was almost undetectable. His heartbeat was also ridiculously slow, only beating once per minute. His blood flow was also extremely slow. Huff, he suddenly opened his eyes. The snow-treading horse did not slow down in the slightest. It turned into a phantom and flashed past. Crazy. The merchant guards were all astonished. Is that knight crazy? Does he think he can charge through with just a snowstrider horse? Can a place like the Cold Jade Mountain be barged into? Cold Jade Mountain. Dongbo Shuang, who was on horseback, was very sensitive to his surroundings. Of course, he heard the merchants' shouts. The Cold Jade Mountain is the only way to the Azure River County City. The Cold Jade Mountain is connected to the Mountain of Desolation. I heard that there are many bandits living in the Cold Jade Mountain. They often rob passing merchants. The bandits here are even more famous than my water rights town's Bent Blade Union. Caravans would usually form an alliance and gather enough people to pass through the Cold Jade Mountain together. But for Dongbo Shuang, in the entire Azure River County, the only ones who could threaten him were those legend rankers. Moreover, it was only a threat. Who would win and who would lose would only be known after a fight. As for a group of bandits, they were nothing more than chickens and dogs. Who? The snowstrider horse galloped like the wind, causing the earth to tremble slightly. The movement was so loud that it could be felt from afar. Where did this black-clothed man come from? He actually dared to charge into the Cold Jade Mountain alone. Is he courting death? Boss, should we make a move? Make a move, my ass. There's no need for us to risk such a tough bone. Let's just leave it to the 8 Cold Jade Eagles. Some of the bandits saw a single horse galloping from afar. Many of them chose to give up. Bandits also had to consider the risks and rewards. After galloping for a few dozen li, they had already reached the middle section of the Cold Jade Mountain. On top of the mountain, there was a large group of bandits dressed in cyan armor. There were only a total of 100 bandits, but they were all well equipped. Almost every ordinary bandit carried a huge crossbow on their back. It was the star-breaking crossbow. The 8 bandit leaders had an extraordinary bearing. They were the most famous of the Cold Jade Mountain, the 8 Cold Jade Eagles. Among them, there were 3 meteor rank warriors, 2 heaven rank mages, and 3 heaven rank knights. All of them had some tricks up their sleeves to be ranked as the 8 Eagles. Ha! Today's harvest is not bad. This caravan is quite good. These bandits were currently in an extremely good mood. Beside them, there were more than 10 people who had been captured alive. The rest of the caravan had died, leaving only these 10 or so people alive. Among them, there were old men, middle-aged men, and even a pair of young boys and girls. The pair of young boys and girls were currently leaning against each other. Their eyes were filled with fear and despair. They were worried about their future. Let's go. Let's go back and take a rest. Let's investigate their origins. Who knows, we might be able to get even more ransom money. The 8 cold jade eagles were a group of extremely fierce bandits. Every one of them had a bounty on them, and they would do anything they wanted. Leaders, quickly look. There's a black-clothed knight coming over. He's riding a snowstrider horse, and he's alone. Some of the bandits immediately reported. The 8 leaders looked from afar. Indeed, there was a single rider galloping forward from afar. He dares to charge in alone. Didn't he look down on our cold jade mountain? Big brother, should we make a move? The other 7 eagles looked at their big brother. The great leader of the frozen jade 8 eagles frowned as he looked down. There are only so many legend rankers in the Azure River County, and all of them are extremely famous. I even know what they look like. Moreover, they wouldn't be so poor as to ride a treading snow horse. This black-robed youth looked very young. The weapon box he carried on his back should be a spear. Who is it? Never heard of it. Could it be a Silver Moon Knight? Brothers, release the arrows and test him. The great leader ordered, if the bones are too hard to chew, we'll leave. If he's too weak, we'll eat him. Yes. Immediately, all the bandits, including the great leader, took out their crossbows or bows. Normal bandits could use the star-breaking crossbow to unleash great power. The star-breaking crossbow could pierce through a meteor knight's protective aura. As for the great leader and the other 2 meteor knights, they were more suited to use bows and arrows. The arrows of a meteor knight were enough to threaten the life of a Silver Moon Knight. Based on these arrows, it was enough to determine the strength of the black-robed young man below. However, they didn't know what kind of existence their arrows had provoked. Release. The great leader ordered. Xiao xiao xiao, numerous arrows were shot down from the top of the mountain, enveloping Dongbush Shuaiying, who was currently rushing over. Chapter 37. Dongbush Shuaiying raised his head and saw numerous arrows flying towards him. Each of the arrowheads was shining with a cold metallic luster, tearing through the air with great power. Truly overestimating yourself. Dongbush Shuaiying quickly took out the 2 parts of the spear from the weapon box on his back. Who? The 2 parts of the spear were more than a meter long. Under the control of Dongbush Shuaiying's hands, the snowstrider horse's speed was too fast. Only about a dozen arrows actually reached him. With a wave of the spear, the arrows were all deflected away. Not to mention Dongbush Shuaiying, not even a single arrow touched the horse. Following that, Dongbush Shuaiying jumped down from the snowstrider horse and rushed up the mountain. At the same time, the 2 parts of the spear merged into one. What a tough bone, retreat. The big leader was shocked by how easily Dongbush Shuaiying blocked the arrows. He knew that he was not someone to be trifled with. Xiao. Leader. Not good, we've provoked a huge disaster. The great leader and the others, as well as the bandits, were all terrified. They looked down in fear. The black-clothed youth who jumped down from the horse turned into a black shadow and rushed into the sky. Although he was flying up the mountain walls, his speed was so fast that it made their hearts tremble and their legs go soft. It made them feel fear. Too fast, it was really too fast. They were at the top of the mountain, and there was a distance of about 200 meters between them and the ground. Furthermore, the steep mountain road was difficult to climb. Logically, they should have enough time to retreat. But in reality, the speed at which the black-clothed youth was rushing up was simply terrifying. The rocks and trees weren't an obstacle at all, and the steep mountain walls weren't an obstacle either. The speed at which he dashed through the forest was even faster than the snowstrider horse's speed on the official road. It was so fast that the bandits couldn't even see the black-clothed youth's exact figure. They could only see a blurry black shadow. How can this be? How can we meet a legend ranker? The big leader felt as if his head was about to explode. His clothes were drenched in sweat, and both his legs went soft. To be able to move so fast on the mountain, he must be a legend ranker. A silver moon knight is not that fast. At least I can see the silhouette of a silver moon knight, so I can try my luck. There are only so many legend rankers in the Azure River County. Where did this guy come from? Where did he come from? How could this be? No, the great leader was unwilling to accept everything that was happening in front of him. Despair, fear, and all sorts of complicated emotions surged within him. He had no thoughts of resisting at all, because the gap between them was far too great. A meteor knight might be able to put up a fight against a silver moon knight. However, if a silver moon knight were to encounter a legend ranker, he would usually be killed in one move. Even if it was a silver moon great mage, in front of a legend ranker, they wouldn't even be able to cast a spell. It could be seen from this, how powerful was a legend ranker. This represented the limit of mortals, a true one-man army. In front of a legend ranker, a meteor knight could not even retaliate. Spare my life, Lord, spare my life. This tall and sturdy, fierce leader suddenly knelt down, begging for mercy. Pang! A shadow of a spear suddenly swept past, causing the great leader to reveal a terrified expression. However, he was simply unable to block it in time, and the shadow of the spear directly swept past his chest. Bang! His entire chest caved in, and his internal organs were completely shattered. At the same time, he was like a broken sandbag as he flew backwards, crashing into a distant tree. The great leader fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were wide open, and he had already died. Run! Quickly run! The other leaders, including the bandits, had completely gone crazy. They immediately scattered in all directions, fleeing in all directions. This was like the scene of two beings of different levels meeting. Although the other side had the advantage in numbers, each and every one of them was filled with fear from the depths of their souls. There was only one thought in their minds: run. Shwa shwa shwa. Too fast. Dongbo Shuiying's speed was extremely fast, especially in the eyes of those who were tied up and captured. 7 or 8 afterimages appeared, as if 7 or 8 Dongbo Shuiyings had simultaneously shot out their spears. Each and every one of the bandits were too slow to block in time. In fact, even if they tried to block, it would be useless. Pu. Including the other 2 Meteor Knight leaders, including a heaven rank mage who was barely able to cast a spell, all of them had their bodies pierced by the spear. As for the spell, this laughable spell that had turned into a sharp blade was immediately dispersed by the high pressure created by Dongbo Shuiying's spear. It couldn't even touch the shaft of the spear. He had killed over 30 bandits in a row. The other bandits were fleeing in all directions with all their might. Some of them were rushing down the mountain, while others were rushing up the mountain. In short, they were running in all directions. Dongbo Shuiying didn't chase after them anymore. After all, once the backbone of a powerful bandit group was gone, the remaining small fries wouldn't be able to do much. Dongbo Shuiying swept his gaze across the corpses of the strongest bandit leaders. The space inside it was smaller than his mother's storage treasure. The gold notes of these bandit leaders add up to more than 150,000 gold coins. My Snowrock castle is currently lacking in money. Today, we have obtained such a huge profit. Although he had earned close to 100,000 gold coins from selling the shadow leopard's fur and other materials, when his brother had broken through to become an official mage, he had given him a better storage treasure and a mage staff. The mage staff was not expensive. It only cost around 5,000 gold coins. After all, his brother was still weak. If the mage staff was too powerful, he would not be able to unleash its full potential. However, the storage treasure's space was huge. It cost a total of 50,000 gold coins. It was even bigger than his mother's storage treasure. When he had reached the strength of a legend ranker, his inner armor had been changed to a rank 2 refiner armor. At the very least, when he fought against a legend ranker, he would be able to protect his vital parts. His boots and clothes had also been changed to some refiner items. However, these items were relatively cheap. Only the inner armor was more expensive. It cost 30,000 gold coins. Thus, Dongbo Shuang was a little short on money. A dignified legend ranker, if other legend rankers were to find out about this, they would definitely laugh at him. After all, what kind of status did a legend ranker have? After bringing those lucky escapees out of the frozen Jade Mountain Valley, Dongbo Shuang no longer cared about them. His snow-treading horse sped up. Galloping all the way, he stayed in Yellow Dragon City for the night. The next morning, he continued his journey. It was only in the evening that he finally arrived at Azure River County City. After a full 2 days, I have finally arrived. Is this Azure River County City? Dongbo Shuang gazed into the distance. In the distance, there was a majestic city. It was so huge that it was hard to see the end of it with the naked eye. The city walls were made of grayish-white rocks. The city walls were at least 100 meters high. 100 meters high city wall, it was as tall as a mountain. On top of this towering city wall, there was a black sphere every half a kilometer. The sphere had a golden pattern on it. The entire towering city was emitting an unseen power. Of course, ordinary people would not be able to sense it. Only Shuang, who was extremely sensitive to auras, could sense it. Azure River County City had a population of over 10 million. Its history was even longer than the history of Dragon Mountain Empire. In fact, the history of a province or county city was very long. Even with the change of dynasties, these ancient cities were constantly reinforced. Their magic arrays also became more powerful. A province city was even more exaggerated. It had a population of over 100 million. The city was so majestic that it was like an independent country. Dongbo Shuang walked into the hall and saw a white-haired, muscular old man. The old man saw Dongbo Shuang and nodded slightly. "Master, please find a seat. When everyone is here, the manor master will be here soon," the maid said. After sitting down, Dongbo Shuang took a sip of tea and put it down. Someone else walked in from outside the hall. It was the green-robed female magus that he met last night. The green-robed female magus swept her gaze across the hall and saw the white-haired, muscular old man and Dongbo Shuang. She was slightly surprised. What a coincidence. Yesterday, they lived opposite each other. Today, they met again. She nodded slightly at the two and sat down. "It's Magus Jingqiu." The white-haired, muscular old man's eyes lit up and said, "I didn't expect to see Magus Jingqiu here. What a coincidence. This old man is Tang Xiong." Dongbo Shuang was slightly surprised. The Dragon Mountain Manor had a list of powerful characters in Azure River County. He had seen it before. Tang Xiong was a 160 years old Silver Moon Knight. With his age, he naturally had no hope of breaking through to the legend rank. As for Magus Jingqiu, she was extraordinary. She was the pride of the entire Azure River County. Jingqiu came from an ordinary family. She entered the Eternal Wind Academy to study magic. At the age of 20, she broke through to the meteor rank. She stayed in the Eternal Wind Academy to teach. At the age of 23, she broke through to the Silver Moon rank. According to the information, Jing Qiu should be 25 years old now. 25 years old, but already a Silver Moon Great Mage. This talent was indeed frightening. Even a transcendent Great Mage in the Eternal Wind Academy accepted her as a disciple. At such a young age, there was a 90% chance that she could step into the legend rank. So it's her. Dongbu Shuang suddenly understood. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, two people walked in from outside. One was a somewhat gloomy young man, and the other was a black-haired old man. The gloomy young man's attire was extraordinary. The robe he was wearing could cause the surrounding atmosphere to change. Obviously, it was a powerful refined armor. Jing Qiu, I didn't expect to see you here. The gloomy young man was excited. I came out to train and randomly chose a task. I didn't expect to meet you here. This is too much of a coincidence. The two of us are brought together by fate. The green-robed female mage frowned. It is indeed a coincidence. The eerie young man glanced around and saw the white-haired old man as well as a black-robed young man who was younger than him. This caused a trace of displeasure to flash through his eyes. He glanced at the white-haired old man and casually said, "Excuse me. Is it Lord Bairong?" The white-haired old man, Tang Xiong, obediently stepped aside, not wanting to disturb him and the female mage. Bairong? Dongbu Shuang also understood who the other party was. Bairong. He was one of the top figures in the younger generation of the Azure River County's Sea clan. Bairong was 50 years old this year. As a Silver Moon Knight, his lifespan was usually close to 200 years. He could still maintain his youthful appearance even though he was 50 years old. Because he was relatively young, he had a higher chance of becoming a legend ranker in the future. Thus, his status in the Sea clan was considered high. The Sea clan could cover the sky with one hand in the Azure River County. If they said you are guilty, then you are guilty. Thus, even Tang Xiong, who was also a Silver Moon Knight, had to flatter him. After all, he could not afford to offend them. Casually finding a reason to capture a Silver Moon Knight was a small matter to the Sea clan. Only by breaking through to the legend ranker would one have the power to suppress ordinary people. Only then would a legend ranker have the qualifications to talk to the Sea clan on equal footing. The gloomy young man then sat beside the female mage, leaning close to her. Jing Qiu, why are you always avoiding me? You are making me sad. Hua. The green-robed female mage stood up and left her seat. However, the hall was only so big. She glanced around and walked towards Dongbu Shuang, sitting down next to him. Jing Qiu. The gloomy young man, Bairong, walked over. Suddenly, he glanced at Dongbu Shuang, feeling that Dongbu Shuang was a hindrance. Frowning, he coldly said, "Excuse me." Shuang picked up the cup of tea and took a sip. He did not care about him at all. Bairong's face immediately turned ugly. Humph. Bairong coldly snorted. Ha, is everyone here? A loud laughter came from outside. A bald old man dressed in red walked in. However, her clan was located in the Azure River County, so she did not want to have a bad relationship with the Sea clan. Shuang was already walking out with the weapon box on his back. Jing Qiu was also following behind him. You don't even have a good storage treasure, and you are still carrying a weapon box. Bairong snorted. Within Chutai City, on a piece of open land, there was a majestic castle. It occupied an area of more than 3 li, and was even bigger than Dongbu Shuaying's Snow Rock Castle. This was the Lu clan's castle. The castle was divided into an outer castle and an inner castle. The inner castle was octagonal in shape, as if there was a strange monster lying on the ground. This inner castle was personally designed by Lu Huairu, and it was filled with many traps and arrays. The closer one got to the bottom of the castle, the more dangerous it would be. Divine Envoy, are you satisfied with the few maids I have prepared? Lu Huairu asked. Half lying on the ground was a monstrous, muscular man. This man's body was incomparably sturdy, and his waist was as thick as a water tank. His height was about 2.5 meters, and his arms were thicker than a normal person's thighs. His beard was as hard as steel needles, and his eyes were slightly drooping. Occasionally, when he opened his eyes, a terrifying pressure could be felt. His breathing even caused the surrounding air to tremble, and the maids beside him were trembling with fear. Just as so. The monster-like man said indifferently. Why? Why do I feel that you are afraid of me? Divine Envoy's strength is monstrous, I am only afraid of you. Lu Huairu said. Don't worry, I am only resting here for a period of time. I have just escaped from the infernal realm, and I have almost forgotten about the pleasures of the human world. Alright, bring some beautiful girls over. It would be best if you can get some powerful female mages. Ordinary people are really tasteless. The monster-like man smacked his lips, and picked up a piece of meat beside him, eating it in big bites. Yes, yes, yes. Divine Envoy, please rest assured. I will quickly find some female mages to offer to you. Lu Huairu said. Go, go, don't be an eyesore. The monster-like man said casually. Chapter 40. In the Azure River County's Dragon Mountain Manor, a 20 to 30 meter long silver-white flying boat was parked. The flying boat was covered with magic runes. Everyone, get on the flying boat. Landlord Yuanwu brought Dongbu Shuaying and the other 4 to the flying boat. What a beautiful flying boat. Dongbu Shuaying's eyes lit up. This was his first time seeing a flying boat. In the past, he had only heard about it. It is said that the cheapest refining flying boat costs at least 200,000 gold coins. Only legend rankers or some big powers can afford it. Si Bairong glanced at Shuang with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. He then said, Manor Lord Yuan, this refiner flying ship is made of silver lake gold, and even the cabin is made of colored glass. I'm afraid it would cost at least 500,000 gold coins. Ha, your Sea clan needs to buy it from some master alchemists, but our Dragon Mountain Manor's main building directly sent it over. We don't need to spend any gold coins, and this alchemy airship is also made by the master alchemists of our Dragon Mountain Manor's main building in the provincial capital. The cost is also very low, I estimate it will only cost 300,000 gold coins. Bairong's guess failed, but his expression didn't change. He exclaimed, amazing. I want to buy a refining flying boat. Can I buy it from the Dragon Mountain Manor? Yes, but the price is about the same as outside. Landlord Yuanwu laughed. It is impossible to sell it at cost. Master alchemists also need to earn money. Dong dong dong. Jing Qiu was the first to board the flying boat. She had always hated Bairong because he always used his family to bully others. Wasn't he just trying to show off that he could buy a flying boat? Jing Qiu was, after all, a disciple of a transcendent. Her goal was to become a transcendent like her master. That was true power. Showing off. Using his family to bully others. That was too shallow. Dong dong dong. Dongbu Shuang also boarded the flying boat. Without a target to show off to, Bairong also boarded the flying boat with his bodyguard, Liang Yong, and Tang Xiong. Have a safe journey. Landlord Yuanwu looked at the flying boat from afar. Who? The flying ship quickly rose into the air, rising higher and higher until it reached a height of more than 1,000 meters. Only then did it quickly fly off into the distance. The more it flew, the further it went, and soon, it disappeared into the horizon. In the cabin of the airship. The entire cabin was decorated with transparent glass, and one could clearly see the scenery outside. There was even a faint trace of color in the glass, and it was indeed magnificent. Everyone. The two experts of Dragon Mountain Manor who were in charge of controlling the flying boat looked at Dongbo Shuang and the others. One of them, who was wearing a silver-white armor, said, "You guys are going to the Lu clan's castle in Chutai City. Are you preparing to attack at night? Or during the day?" If it was during the day, the flying boat could travel at its fastest speed, and it would only take 4 hours to arrive. If you're not in a hurry, the flying boat will advance at a slower speed. I estimate that we'll arrive in the evening. There's actually no difference between attacking during the day and attacking at night. Jing Qiu's voice was very pleasant to listen to. That Lu Huairu is a meteor-level mage, and he's also an expert in alchemy. Since it's an extremely secretive place, he'll definitely set up many alarm arrays. The moment we sneak in, we'll be discovered immediately. Jing Qiu is a silver moon mage. Since she said that there are alarm arrays, we'll definitely be discovered. Bai Rong said. Since we'll be discovered anyway, let's attack during the day. The sooner the better. We're not in a hurry. Let's do it during the evening. Jing Qiu said. During the evening, the castle's soldiers will be changing shifts or preparing for dinner. They'll be much more relaxed. During the day, the security will be relatively strict. During the night, it'll be even more troublesome to encounter traps. Jing Qiu is really smart. Bai Rong said. Alright, let's do it during the evening. The two experts who were in charge of controlling the flying boat immediately made their decision. In fact, moving at a slower speed was the most efficient way to save energy. Dongbo Shuang quickly walked out of the cabin and arrived at the A-class of the flying boat. It really feels different. The wind on the deck was relatively strong. However, because of the shape of the flying boat, the wind seemed to blow past the top of the boat. The wind on the A-class was much weaker compared to the outside world. Who? Standing on the deck and holding onto the railing of the flying ship, Shuang looked at the floating clouds around him. Looking at the faintly discernible vast land beneath the clouds, the scenery was truly beautiful. Dong Bo Shuang felt relaxed and happy. Dong dong dong. Another person walked out of the cabin and onto the deck. Dongbo Shuang turned his head and saw that the person was the cold and gloomy Bai Rong. Bai Rong was dressed luxuriously, like a nobleman. He also walked to the railing and looked at the scenery outside. Although I've seen it many times, the scenery on the flying boat is really good. Dongbo Shuang, this is your first time on a flying boat, right? Dongbo Shuang ignored him. I know you. Dongbo Shuang, from Water Rights Town. I heard that your parents were captured by the Mo Yang clan. You also have a brother named Dongbo Qingshi. Bai Rong casually said. Dongbo Shuang frowned and looked at him. In the Azure River County, there is nothing that my Sea clan doesn't know. Bai Rong looked at him, wanting to destroy a small clan like your Dongbo clan is a piece of cake for my Sea clan. Therefore, even if a legend ranker committed a crime, the Dragon Mountain Manor would be the one to judge them. Therefore, the Sea clan would not be able to threaten a legend ranker. Between legend rankers, they had the right to speak on equal terms. Of course, Si Lianghong was ranked around 500 in the entire Dragon Mountain list. If there was no need, Dongbo Shuang did not want to become enemies with Si Lianghong. You. Bai Rong looked at Dongbo Shuang's back as he entered the cabin. He was so angry that he clenched his teeth. You dare to ignore me, you dare to ignore me. Very good, I will remember you. After this mission, I will definitely. Bai Rong's face changed. This damn brat, don't tell me that he will really ambush me during the mission. We will directly jump down and quietly sneak into the Lu family's castle. Jing Qiu said, if we can quietly sneak in and kill Lu Huairu, that would be the best. Okay, we will listen to Jing Qiu. Si Bairong was the first to agree. It is our luck to have a silver moon magician with us. Tang Xiong laughed. Clang. Dongbua Shuang pulled out the two halves of the spear from the weapon box on his back and began to connect the two halves of the Feishua godly spear. Si Bairong saw this and curled his lips. With a flip of his hand, a two-handed greatsword appeared in his hand. Everyone was ready to fight at any time. Hu Jingqiu, who was wearing a green robe, held a staff in her hand. Suddenly, a whirlwind swept everyone up. Let's go down. Jingqiu said. Let's go. Hu, the five of them jumped down from the airship at the same time. In fact, with their strength, any one of them could easily jump down from a height of more than 300 meters. The main purpose of the whirlwind was to adjust the landing point and conceal them. Dongbua Shuang looked down. As they landed, the whirlwind controlled them to fly towards the roof of the inner castle of the Lu family's castle. The whole inner castle was like a strange octagonal monster lying on the roof. At the same time, a strong wind blew from below. The wind was whistling, blowing away the leaves and grass, making it difficult for some of the soldiers to open their eyes. So. With the help of the whirlwind, the five of them quietly landed on the roof. Let's go in. Si Bairong held his great sword with both hands, full of fighting spirit. The entire inner castle's roof was very big. At this moment, a dazzling red light shone from it. Under the light, Dongbua Shuang and the other four had nowhere to hide. Assassins! A cold voice came from the inner castle, resounding through every corner of the castle. They are on the roof, kill them. Assassins! They are on the roof, kill them. There were a large number of patrolling soldiers on the outer castle walls. Some of the patrolling soldiers in the inner castle also immediately discovered the assassins. Immediately, more than 200 star-breaking crossbows were aimed at them. The Lu family had a meteor-level master who was proficient in alchemy and 4 meteor-level knights. With such strength, naturally, the soldiers in the inner castle were also very good. We have been discovered. Tang Xiong said. So what if we have been discovered? At most, we will just kill them all. Si Bairong sneered. This time, we are targeting the Lu family. If you want to stop us, you will only be courting death. Jing Qiu, who was holding her staff, said. Her voice was cold and pleasant to the ears, resounding through every corner of the castle. At the same time, along with her voice, a large amount of frost appeared in the surrounding area, causing the temperature of the surrounding air to drop sharply. A thick layer of frost condensed on the ground, and some of the soil was completely frozen. The entire Lu family's castle had turned into a huge ice castle. All the soldiers were covered in frost and were shivering. Cold, so cold. Some of the soldiers directly shivered and fell to the ground. Withdraw from the frost domain and you will live. Otherwise, you will only freeze to death. Jing Qiu said. She still had a kind heart for these weak soldiers. Who? Dongbua Shuang looked at the surrounding frost and felt the extremely cold temperature. He was amazed. Jing Qiu was indeed an expert in the ice element. The range of the frost domain was just enough to cover the entire castle. The extremely cold temperature was not to the point where it could instantly freeze people to death. This kind of control was really amazing. Of course, if people were to be frozen for a long time, they would still die. Quickly go, quickly go. Some of the stronger soldiers immediately pulled some of the weaker soldiers and fled. Some of the servants in the castle also fled. The 2,000 to 3,000 soldiers were unable to resist the frost domain and could only flee. In such a cold environment, they were shivering from the cold. Their fingers were numb and they couldn't even control the star-shattering crossbows. Let's go. Jing Qiu held her staff, while Dongbo Shuang and the other three jumped down from the roof. Since they could not sneak in quietly, they could only attack directly. A bunch of idiots. Completely useless. Seeing the soldiers outside flee, Lu Huairu coldly snorted and quickly ran down the corridor, continuously rushing towards the secret area of the inner castle. It seems that I will have to rely on myself and a few protectors. It's fine if you don't come in, but if you dare to enter the inner castle that I built, then you will die. Lu Huairu was very confident. His traps and arrays, even 3 to 5 silver moon knights would die if they came. Not to mention that there was a great Lord Divine Envoy living here, which made him very confident. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.